All right, y'all, we're going to take a look at this boudoir photography business today. Going to take a look at its, high intent Google searches that boudoir buyers are searching. See if it has BSS and see if we're meeting the GBC recommended minimum of hitting 3 out of 10 page one Google slots. So we're back here in the GBC universe where we take declining boudoir photographers, turn them into the #1 boudoir photographers in their city. Our North Star, as always, is FSIC, full spectrum intent capture. More about that and whatever pinned post, pinned video, home video, somewhere around here. And that's because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. So if we're falling, we're missing somewhere on this intent ladder. We're not capturing the amount of people we need to at each intent step or intent level. So we see over on the left, BSS, that's what we talk about here. That's the highest intent people doing, social search, Google search. And then over on the right, the lowest intent people, that's BLCS, that's our other brand, Boudoir Facebook Ad Doctor. That's where we're working with boudoir photographers spending more than 10 grand per month on their boudoir Facebook ads. But BSS, that's what we care about today. So care about the highest intent people right now. So BSS is boudoir search sameness. That's when a boudoir photographer has 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. So 0 slots on page 1, and we're invisible. We're basically dead. And that's because that means we're on page 2 or deeper, and we know that approximately 80% of Google searches never go past the first page. That's literally page 1 only. So those 20%ers, we don't care about them. We want to deal with the 80%. 80%ers, the bulk of people. Now, 1 slot on page 1 also is not good for us because we look like everyone else on page 1. If there's not other boudoir photographers and everyone's got 1 link, then the searcher, the buyer, is simply going to literally click and opens everyone's website, contact everyone. We don't stand out at all. Probably won't even remember our name. So boudoir search sameness, boudoir photographer has 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. And 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google is not normal. Extremely common, but it's not normal. Is actually the symptom of 2 deeper root causes. First deeper root cause is market saturation, which most know about. The second one is the false belief of page 1 equality, which most people do not know about. Now, the market saturation, that's where it seems like every week someone gets a new iPhone, they throw up their Google My Business profile, and they say they shoot boudoir, they got their website up, they're competing with us to rank on page 1. Basically, more boudoir photographers over time competing for the same number of buyers, so it makes it harder, more difficult for everyone to compete. So that's consistently pushing people out of page 1 onto page 2, and effectively invisible to 80% of searchers that never even go to page 2. Now the new one here, we got the false belief of page 1 equality. This is new because people have kind of auto-accepted it because there's never really a word to describe this. For people to say, oh, I agree with that or disagree with that or I think it's true or false or whatever. But the false belief of page 1 is equality is basically assuming, getting 0 or 1 slot on page 1 of Google is the default. It's the norm. Everyone either has 0 slots or 1 slot, and maybe you had 1 slot on Google page 1, but market saturation puts us off to page 2. So all right, we got 0 slots on page 1, we got 1 slot on page 2, and all right, that's how it is. It's how being a boudoir photographer is. But no, actually, we can actually take as many page 1 slots as we want to put in the work for. And I know that because I went from 0 out of 10 slots on page 1 to 9 out of 10 slots on page 1 of Google in 10 days. So this kind of page 1 equality assumption or like default belief, default assumption is 100% incorrect, which we'll see in a few more pictures down here. We also know that a boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness, so 0 1 slots on page 1 of Google, is a disappearing boudoir photographer. Yeah, it's kind of like the canary in the coal mine. I mean, if you got 0 slots on page 1, you're definitely disappearing. 1 slot on page 1 probably also disappearing as well because there may be some other people that got 2 slots on page 1, and we're not at 1 slot. We're not saying that at all. We're basically invisible. We're being price shopped against everyone. So it's kind of the canary in the coal mine where once someone becomes a disappearing boudoir photographer and they don't fight against it, then pretty soon, eventually, the entire business disappears as well. So it's kind of the canary in the coal mine of what can happen in the next future in the business. So BSS, luckily we got the solution. BSS is treated with social search saturation, aka our S-cubed methodology. We invented this, been working on it for about 7 months now. We're liking the results so far, so we're bringing it to market. And to utilize S-cubed methodology, remember it's social search saturation, so we saturate search on Facebook search, Instagram search, TikTok search, YouTube search with what our, people searching for boudoir photo shoots would be typing in. So we show up there. And once we do that, that actually flows over to Google. So saturating social search actually flows over to Google kind of as a byproduct, giving us multiple links on page one. And again, I went from 0 out of 10 links on page one to 9 out of 10 links on page one for what I wanted to rank for in 10 days. And so the magic about this is the only way someone can use this is if they crash, if they destroy that false belief of page one equality. Because once we use S-cubed methodology, and once you actually see these results I got, we'll realize, oh, that belief was actually false. Page one equality is not the norm. Google actually will give us as many links as we want to put in the effort to acquire, as many page one links. And so the second magical thing about S-cubed methodologies is it's the only thing I've seen that actually fights back against market saturation. So imagine if there's, we're a boudoir photographer in LA, and there's a total of 1 million boudoir photographers in LA. Everyone's got their own website. So everyone's, fiercely competing to be page one on Google. But imagine we take the S-cubed methodology to the extreme where we rank so hard for the highest intent keywords for people searching for boudoir photo shoots. And, we absolutely crush social search saturation, where literally like the first 300 slots of any and every search related to boudoir is us. So it's around all the social platforms that flows over to Google, and let's say the first 300 organic results on Google are only us as well, because we took S-cubed methodology to the max. So the fact that there's 999,999 other boudoir photographers actually doesn't matter to us, because for the first 300 slots, anywhere somebody looks for a boudoir photo shoot in LA, we're the only ones there. They got to go down to slot like 301, and Google is 10 organic slots per page, so they got to go to page like 31 to find another boudoir photographer. So whose business is still doing great? Ours, even though there's literally 999,999 other boudoir photographer competitors. So this is one of the special things about S-cubed methodology. It's the only thing I've seen that actually, builds momentum and helps us compete against market saturation. That can happen relatively quickly. The only other second thing would be brand. People doing branded searching for our brand specifically, but that takes years. So this is something that happens way faster than years to build a brand. And now once treated with S-cubed methodology, we now have page one visibility. So we're actually seen on page one, even though, we may have had one slot on page one, we're still kind of invisible. But with page one visibility, we got 2. Well, we go for the GBC minimum of 3 out of 10 here for local search and city search. But the added bonus is every new slot we take up on page one, we are kicking a competing boudoir photographer off page one, effectively making them invisible, because approximately 80% of Google searches never go to page 2. They stay on page 1. And as a result, kind of as we take 4 out of 10 slots, 5 out of 10 slots, 6 out of 10 slots, people searching for at least the 80%, the big chunk we're going for, they can only price shop us or compare us against 2, 3, 4 boudoir photographers instead of against 9, because they ain't going to page 2 anyways. And so this is one of the other bonuses. It's actually kicks our competitors out of basically being found. Now, page one visibility activates Boudoir search visibility for us, yeah, because we're no longer at a 0 or 1. We're no longer at 0 1 slots on page one, and Boudoir search for yep. So we're actually standing out. Well, 0 1, and we won't get to 3 because there may actually be someone else that has 2. I mean, 1's most common, 2 is kind of rare, but if we got 3 out of 10, we're ultra rare. And we're definitely standing out against people that have 1 slot each, and still standing out against people that got 2 slots. It's probably only one other person. And a boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility is a visible boudoir photographer, a VBP. And this is our university disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness caused by market saturation and the false belief of page one equality. Once we accept page one equality is false, now we know, okay, now we can tackle it, we can solve it. The only thing I know of that can solve it is S-cubed methodology. It actually solves, the only thing I know that can solve both false belief of page one equality and market saturation. We achieve page one visibility, we become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility. All right, so these are my results actually doing, so ranking for the keyword BLCS boudoir. So that's what I want to rank for. So we got the AI overview, got the Google Map Pack. Now looking at organic. So I got organic slot 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 10. So I got 9 out of 10 slots on page 1 of Google. And this was after I went from 0 out of 10 to 9 out of 10 in 10 days. And kicked everyone else off page 1. I took it over. And this is showing the power of the S-cubed methodology, where Google wants to give these page 1 slots to the people that want the page 1 slots the most, and to be relevant to the user search. So these slots are always up for grabs for everyone that wants them. So now into the main event here. Going to see this boudoir photography business, see how the search is looking for the local and city search. Actually, they're both in this case. So if we got BSS, yes or no. So if we're in the GBC recommended minimum 3 out of 10 slots paid on Google, or let's hit it, Bellingham, Washington. All right, so let's see what we got. Let's see. All right, so we do got one. Boom, we got one. All right, we got one. So we got 1 out of 10. And city's always the hardest one to rank for. So we got 1 out of 10, that's good. But we got BSS, we got boudoir search sameness. We also got, we're not hitting the GBC recommended amount of 3 out of 10 page 1 slots on Google. So if you are a disappearing boudoir photographer, so you've done you've done your local search, you've done your city search for the highest intent keywords that a boudoir buyer would be searching, and you either have BSS for one of them, or for one of them, or both, you're not hitting the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots on page 1 of Google, and you understand the false belief of page 1 equality, and you're like, oh yeah, that actually makes sense. We can actually take as many slots as we want, because Google will give them to us if we put in the work. And so you're seeing that S-cubed methodology is literally exactly what you've been waiting for. And you're like, yes, this is the perfect solution for me. So I got to use this thing. And you understand the market saturation. The 2 prongs, people get new iPhones, people get new cameras, kind of the gear saturating the market. But when you actually look at the outcomes of S-cubed methodology, you're saying, okay, first page, yeah, more kind of the initial benefits, more page 1 slots, and secondarily, kicking more competitors out of page 1 slots and off to page 2, effectively making them invisible. So you're liking those initial benefits, and you're looking ahead from kind of at this market saturation thing, and you're seeing AI is taking more and more people's jobs. You're like, there's kind of gonna be a much higher increasing number of boudoir photographers entering the marketplace, and over and over time as AI takes more people's jobs, that's on top and above kind of standard new gear people entering the marketplace. So you're seeing, man, you decide you're going to fortify your spot on page one. Literally have so many slots on page one that you actually have like backup links in waiting that Google wants to rank on page one but can't because we've taken so many slots that literally kind of the new peeps that come into the market will never even be able to rank on page one on Google. So it's kind of like you're saying that you also want to use SQ methodology, which it's perfect for, to kind of fortify those levees. Like down in New Orleans, Louisiana, they got the levees to keep the ocean out. You want to set up your boudoir page one domination levees. So you're seeing SQ methodology is perfect for that, and you want to achieve page one visibility. You want to become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility because you know you need those things in order to become the #1 boudoir photographer in your city. And you're also liking the future kind of future benefits of successfully executing SQ methodology every single day, which is every single day we execute it correctly. We are actually we're creating these invisible thematic keyword columns around our brand, or like attached to our brand, kind of like columns like the Parthenon in Greece, or spokes going to the the middle of the hub of the bike tire. And these things are basically AI mindshare. So every day we're building that up, building it up, an increase in the probability we're showing up here, the AI overview, the most premium placement right now, showing only one slot, the primary slot. I mean, this is going to help get buyers, obviously. And the secondarily, kind of the other longer term benefit is every day we do this correctly, we're increasing the probability that standard AI search and all these different AI search apps recommend us as well. ChatGPT search, Claude, Perplexity, Microsoft Copilot search, Google Gemini search. And, Google's still approximately 80% of all search, but I haven't done standard Google search in probably like a year. I've always been using the AI overview button. It's basically like summarize it for me. I don't want to read nothing. And so you're seeing that. You're seeing people use AI. It's literally more and more and more every single day. And so you need to be increasing the probability you're showing up on AI search. And dude, last time I search for boudoir photographer with AI search, I literally brought up 3 of them. But then I actually went like through Google and all these different searches to find how manually how many are out there in the city. And there's approximately like 60. So dude, we gotta get on these top 3 slots. And again, what's the best solution out there that helps with that? SQ's methodology. It helps give all these benefits. And you're also seeing that you've decided that you're going to be the first mover in your city on using SQ methodology, because my current plan is to only work with one boudoir photographer per city and lock everyone else out. So you're saying you can get all these initial benefits, get all these future benefits, and lock out all your competitors from using the strategy and build up kind of those invisible thematic keyword column momentum, like back-end AI mindshare, while your competitors have no idea what's going on. And we're able to put so much distance between you and your current competitors, and definitely any future competitors, that makes it a no-brainer. And conversely, if one of your competitors was to come with me first, and I would lock you out, then you're also seeing you would actually have to rederive S-cubed methodology all on your own. You have no idea if you would had derived it or rederived it correctly or not. And then you'd have to successfully equal our execution every single day. But if you did that, you would simply maintain the gap that me and your competitor would have already gotten ahead of you with. And so to kind of close the gap, you'd actually have to out execute us by like 2 or 3x every single day and begin pulling those, invisible thematic keyword columns, momentum, mindshare, AI mindshare we had already been achieving away from us and towards yourself. And you still would not even have 100% confidence you've derived SQ methodology correctly in the first place. And so doing all that, like, dude, who's got 60 to 80 hours in a day to do all that stuff? So you decide to screw that. You're going to be the first mover in this. You don't want to deal with a competitor getting it. So if that's you, shoot me a DM. And I'll shoot me a DM when the hospital is open for new patient intake. Hospital is currently closed for new patient intake. So you cannot DM me even if you wanted to. And no, you cannot work with me right now, even if you wanted to. But when I do open the hospital for new patient intake, shoot me a DM and we'll see if you qualify for using our SQ methodology.